I don't really know where to start with this. All I know is that I kept seeing videos on YouTube with the title being like, Cult Forces Transition, and I thought it was bullshit. Like some kind of like, oh, the gay people are at it again. Those stupid transgender, I thought it was kind of like that. And then it was something completely different than what I thought it was. So I'm gonna talk about it. Um, my sources, I watched. Well, I started on Netflix with The Escaping Twin Flames, and then I went on Amazon and I watched Desperately Seeking Soulmates, which is another documentary. I listened to two podcasts. One was the Cult Vault, and then another one was called That's So Fucked Up. I also watched some YouTube videos by Let the Fresh Aaron, but Aaron is Erin, like the name, as well as Dr. Todd Grand, who I also watched in preparation for my Teal Swan video. And then also Sherilyn Dale had a lot of YouTube videos about this topic. Twin Flames Universe is a social media group that was made by Jeff and Megan. I'm not calling her Shalia, I'm calling her Megan. Her name's Megan. Because if she can tell other people their names, then I can say that she's Megan. So Jeff and Megan. Jeff is like this weird business major, and Shalia is like this spiritual girl. So they decide to join together and make basically a brand out of their relationship, using the phrase twin flames, which is like a thing that has already, they didn't invent that, but they definitely probably ruined it. So they start talking about how their relationship is the best relationship and they're twin flames, and they decide that they're going to create a pyramid scheme where very lonely people who want twin flames. So Jeff and Shirley are at the top, and they're coaching all these people and making them pay crazy amounts of money. And as their pyramid scheme grows, the people that they were teaching originally recruit more people, and they teach them, and all of the money goes back up to Jeff and Megan, which is how they're able to afford Porsches while their cult followers are bankrupt. Anyways, I also thought it was crazy, one, how expensive it was and how much they made, but also their recruiting methods. They were going on mental health, different social medias and message boards, and telling people about it, deliberately targeting very vulnerable people. That kind of felt a little bit evil, in my opinion. I also kind of think that it was funny how they were so, because they're Christian based, they're a Christian based cult. They were so homophobic that it because when I heard about the trans cult, I thought it was some left wing, that's why people were talking about it. It was an SJW thing. And then looking into it, I realized that they were so homophobic that they were making people transition because they wanted every single relationship in the group to have a masculine and a feminine energy. Basically, they said that every relationship has to have a masculine, a divine masculine, and a divine feminine energy. Very heavy on the whole following gender roles thing. And eventually, people started to get mad because they weren't meeting their soulmates. So they decided that they were going to matchmake within the group. But I think 80% of the group was women. So it started out with, there was this lesbian couple, and they basically told one of the women that she had to transition or she had to leave, and they ended up kicking her out. And then they paired women up with women in their matchmaking, because there wasn't enough men. But these women were straight, so they would assign one of them to be the man to have to transition. And I thought that that was really weird, because not only is it like misogynistic, but it's also like homophobic, but it's also like transphobic, because you're like, nobody, you can't force someone to be a different gender. That's not how that works. You can go back and like look at like there's been a couple cases of like botched circumcisions where they make the child live as female, and as the child grows up, the child refuses to be socialized female and ends up going back to male. You can't force somebody to be a different gender. That's not how that works. But they were doing it. They were doing it. Super manipulative. Also, there's also like a weird arranged marriages thing. But also, the divine masculine and divine feminine ideologies were just leading into members of the cult being abused / being abusive, and it being pretending that it was okay because they were just following their like roles. And I also wanted to talk about the illegal stuff that was going on. Technically being a cult isn't illegal, but if you do illegal activities inside of the cult, that is illegal. There was definitely a lot of blurred lines when it came to consent, because of these arranged marriages. Not only that, like there's a specific, Marley was one of them, who was like a 19-year-old girl who was like paired up with a full-grown adult man who had like, he was like a felon or some shit, and she put up with it because of Jeff and Megan's like forcefulness. But also, Jeff is also very encouraging when it comes to breaking the law. He says things like sex is a right, encouraging dubious consent. He has like explicitly said some things about Megan where you're like, oh, that's actually really fucked up. But also, the whole twin flames thing, the concept of having one person who's like your true, I keep on wanting to say soulmate, but I guess those are different things. You are encouraged to go after your twin flame by all means necessary. And this led to Jeff and Megan encouraging stalking to the point where restraining orders were filed. To the point where a restraining order was accidentally broken. This woman was like at a bar, and her ex-boyfriend, who she believed was her twin flame, happened to be there, and he had previously filed a restraining order on her because she wouldn't stop messaging him about it. And she ended up going to jail for like 3 months. 3. And when she came back, Jeff and Megan like congratulated her and said that they like took her seriously now. So you got stalking and harassment, you got sexual assault / arranged marriages, you got forced labor, because with the pyramid scheme, nobody at the bottom was getting paid. People were being forced to work for them, but they weren't being compensated at all. And if they did receive any money, they were forced to put it back into the cult, like to donate it or to spend it on lessons or training. So, yeah, I know technically you can't, being a cult isn't illegal, but stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and forced labor is. So, I hope they get them. I hope. I'm not really. We can debate the prison industrial complex all we want, but I do think that these two people are very dangerous, and yeah, that's it. If you have any thoughts, please let me know. And yeah, I was completely enamored by these documentaries, and I just thought it was interesting, and I wanted to talk about it. Yeah, I hope you have a nice day, and goodbye.